Well, you found yourself watching part 2 of my let's go out and do some overlanding on a lawnmower series. So in this video, I'm going to do some serious upgrading. First thing I got here is a front axle from a Craftsman GT 5000. GT meaning garden tractor, heavier duty. You could see the wheels, they kind of lean and do this a lot because the spindles are loose inside this front axle. The bushings are all wore out. And another thing I don't really particularly care for on this original front axle is the way these steering links look. I mean, they're pretty thin, and they tried to roll them and put divots in them for strength, but that one already looks like it's starting to bend downhill. So I was concerned if I put a bunch of weight on the front of this thing for carrying all my stuff and then go bahaing through the woods, am I going to have problems with, my steering coming apart? Because I've watched a lot of off-road mowing before, and it seems like the steering is always a problem. So I think the weight of that GT tractor this axle came off of would still be heavier than this loaded down with all my gear. Because I wanted to put some of the stuff, like the battery and some other things, more forward to put some weight on the front so it'll steer better. So all that original axle is going to come off, and I'm thinking I'm going to try to put the new axle and have it hung probably just right here, right at the very front of this. I think would look good. So this will be like right there. So anyway, my plan now is to fit that heavy duty front axle. So I'm going to take out the engine, the gas tank, take off the hood, and then I'm going to try to flip this thing upside down and put it up on jack stands. That way I can brace the frame right through here and fit something to connect that axle bracket to, so I can hook up the axle and lengthen the steering link there, and it'll all be easier with this thing upside down. Alright guys, I got all the pieces cut out. Well, not all, but most of the pieces. And I got it mocked in here so you can see what I am thinking. So I got this 1/4 inch flat stock in here, which is about 2.5 times thicker than the original frame. And that's going to be welded in across here, and it pokes out the front about 3 inches. That's going to be on both sides, obviously. So I'll get all that welded in, and then we'll come in with this, which is going to be the new platform for the axle bracket. That I can weld this 3 inch. I stuck it out 3 inches so I could get a nice good weld from this flat stock here to the square tube, and then I can get it welded it right in here a little bit. But then I'm gonna have a 1/4 inch gap right here, and that's a bit. I mean, I could probably fill that gap, but it wouldn't be pretty. Then the new axle bracket will be bolted on somewhere in this neighborhood. I got one of the frame braces welded in, and I just went and put a bead every inch or so apart. I heard somewhere that could be stronger, or at least less likely to break off. I don't know. Okay, so I got this side over here completely done now. We've got the brace in there, like I said, and now I've gotten this welded in, which I went all the way around. It's hard to see in there, but I went all the way around in this back side. Try to get some of the slag off there. I did put a small weld right there. I don't know how much that's going to help anything. I got 2 beads in there. You can see the heat. They're down in there a little ways. So that should be good enough. Also, the reason I stuck our support brace out, I stuck that out 3 inches right here so I could weld this on to it all the way, because I knew that was the only good spot to weld it. So I got that all the way welded up. So now I'm just going to do the other side, and then the frame should be modified to accept the new axle. Well, I got this part finished now. I put that cross beam in there, a little bit extra support. I think it's going to be pretty strong. I am going to put some kind of a front bumper on this. I just haven't quite figured out what that's going to look like yet. I'll probably save that for later when I got it flipped back on its wheels. Anyway, I got the 8 grade 8 bolts in there, and you can see my spacers. Those are 7/16 nuts. And I got quite a bit of articulation. In fact, what's stopping me is the tie rod here is hitting that bolt head. So not about that much, but if you turn the wheel so it goes in between, it's quite a bit. I feel like that's pretty good. Now if I wanted to get more, I could probably put a 1/3 nut and space this up another 1/3 of an inch. Well, I think that's plenty good articulation for now, and it's still sitting pretty level. So if I keep the tire sizes all the same, we should be good. I did jump up and down on this, and I weigh about 260 pounds, and it feels rock solid, so I think it's going to be good. And before I'm done, I need to finish. I got to weld this right here and through here, and maybe along here. So the last little piece of this front axle puzzle is going to be the steering rod, so I need to connect this arm here to this right here so we can steer it. Now I have this centered right now, so you know, before I measure anything, I want to make sure this is about, so you know, right about centered. And obviously my new steering rod will have some adjustment in it, so if it's not exactly perfect, we can dial it in. So here's the stuff I bought to make a new steering link, and I got price gouged on it pretty bad, 50 bucks for what you see before you. I got a 3/8 tube, a couple of 3/8 bolts that thread into these heim joints. So all I got to do is cut this to length, cut this end off the bolts, and then stick them in the end and weld them in place. Okay, so I took my measurement from that steering link there to where it needs to connect on the axle, and I made sure everything is straight, like eyeballing it of course, but this is pretty much straight, and that's pretty much centered. I came up with 21.5 inches between the holes. That's 2 inches added to both sides, so that totals 4 inches. So I had to minus 4 inches off my 21.5 measurement, 17.5. Alright, so I got this rod all set up. I measured it. My measurements were correct. Everything lines up nice. I'm not even going to show you the welding I did because you guys will make fun of me. I do remember that I don't have brakes, and that was one thing I said I needed to have. And I've been looking at, now that I can see everything easily, I'm just looking around. And the brakes do work on this transmission. Here's the lever for it right here. You push it back and it'll apply the brakes. And all that seems to be working. But of course this had the hit the clutch pedal all the way down to apply the brakes. So here's the brake slash clutch rod. So I'm just going to disconnect it right here, and maybe we can use this rod and hook it to an independent pedal over here on the other side. Trailer fenders you can buy on Amazon. I think I paid around 80 bucks for these. They come with the backings that you have to weld in yourself, which will be fine. Now obviously I'm not going to leave these this long, so you can see my dotted line where I'm going to cut them off. And they should be cool. Okay, so I got all my lines marked for where I'm going to cut these inner fenders. I'm going to drop them down about 1.25 inches below where the fender itself stops. That way we're getting the inner fender to cover this whole side of the tractor frame here instead of stopping right about there where that line is. I thought that would make it a little bit more sturdy. So I got these cut out pretty good. I did a decent job at staying straight. I smoothed out all the sharp edges. Now before I weld these on, I thought what I would do is go to the store and get some flat stock, nothing heavy, too heavy duty, but some flat stock steel to weld on the back side of these. Like weld a strip here and a strip here. and then I'll drill the bolt holes through the inner fender and that flat stock that's welded onto it, and that way it'll be nice and strong and attached on there. So here we are. We got our 2 bolts. Right now, that's holding it on, and it's actually quite rigid. I was going to add a bracket right there, but I might hold off on that for the time being because, well, you can see over here that the fender is not exactly centered over top of the tire. So I might leave it like this, or I could space the fenders out a little more. I haven't quite decided yet, so I'm going to leave that alone. And yeah, I guess for now, I think I'm pretty happy with how these worked out. Well, fast forward about 9 months, and here we are. But I did film all the important stuff, so I left off with the rear fenders. I had them bolted on. I never did paint them. I kind of liked how they looked bare metal. It kind of matched the rest of the patina here. Just, you know, make sure you get your tetanus shots. I did just weld on a simple front bumper here, nothing fancy, just another piece of that 2x2 square tubing. I don't believe I covered the wheels, so basically what I did was I had an old set of the 8-inch trailer rims and tires, but the tires were bald. So I cut the center off the front rims for this mower, and I just welded them on the back of the trailer rims. You can see my very crude work there, but it's functional. So this is towards the end of the off-road video. You'll see me lose this wheel on the trail, and that's because I put some I converted it over to roller bearings instead of the bushings, and they weren't real high quality, and the bearing just came apart. My wife was with me, so we had this Timberwolf, and I basically lifted the front of this up and had it like suspending off this rack here, kind of like a a wrecker, and that's how we towed it out of the trails. So to mount the seat, I just made this wooden box here. So now I have a little compartment under here. Here's my 1/4-inch ratchet I've been looking for. The bottom is actually, I cut that out of the old original rear fender to mount the seat to, and I bought these hinges, and there you go. Simple and effective. Like I said, I got it geared doing about 10 miles an hour, which was about as fast as you'd want to go with no suspension. But yeah, real simple. Just you push this lever and it moves that lever, and then it hits the brake on the transaxle. I do wish that the pedal wasn't so close, because it is a little bit hard to hit like that. I wish I would have made it come out over here a little bit more. But I was trying to leave some space here in case I wanted to put a throttle. Front tires are, I believe they're 20x7s for an 8-inch rim. And last thing, to get the hood to fit, I just cut out right there around so it would fit around the frame, the new part of the frame. And it's pretty much in its original location. I guess that's all I got for you in this video, and shortly I will be posting the video of this thing on the trails. So hopefully you enjoy that, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.